Now, in this video right here, I raised a theory that there was more than one suspect. And there had to be more than one suspect based off the timeline. Of course, it was a theory. But a lot of y'all said, no, there's no way. That's absolutely impossible and you're out of your mind. Listen to this interview right here from one of the locals in the Moscow area.
That there's nobody hiding in your house.
Did you hear that? Let me go on and play it again just a hair slower.
That there's nobody hiding in your house.
So there seems to be at least some sort of rumor floating around town that the suspect was already in the home before the attack. But there's a gag order, right? So the gag order was put in place to ensure Bryan Kohberger gets a fair trial. That there's no way the potential jury pool can be contaminated. And I'm going to prove what that gag order's done and make a guess on what happens next. And if an open conversation is something you prefer, then this is the place for you. Welcome to The Point, so let's talk about it.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Now, to set this stage a little bit, a reporter went around town asking people various questions. And keep in mind, the gag order was put in place to ensure there was no possibility of a contaminated jury pool and that Bryan Kohberger would get a fair trial. But listen to some of these statements.
Well, once they've pretty much found the person that could be the suspect.
Up upon, but everybody knows what happened. No, I hope he gets put in jail or prison for a while, yeah. And most people here do, nobody likes him.
That didn't know that his mind wasn't right and that he needed the mental health help to not have an incident like this tragic incident.
As you heard, the vast majority of people within this interview believe Bryan Kohberger is guilty. They know he is guilty. They make that statement that he is guilty. And in fact, one of them made the statement that the vast majority of the school and the city believe that he is guilty. But there was that gag order. The problem with gag orders, though, is it allows individuals to run one-sided stories without any type of pushback from the defense. Ann Taylor can't get up there and speak about this particular hearing. She can't speak about the trial. She can't speak about her client's point of view and why he's innocent. But we've got every single mainstream media news outlet out there pushing out specific stories with their leaked anonymous sources. And the few people that are advocating for fairness and advocating for transparency and pointing out the holes in this particular case are being called conspiracy theorists. In fact, everybody has been told, don't trust anything on social media, don't trust anything that you see on the internet, you need to just trust actual journalists. Well, when an actual journalist publishes something that contradicts the narrative of the investigation, we're told to disregard him too. So who do we trust here? Well, naturally, you would trust both attorneys. Both attorneys have full access to the information. They can clearly state their point of view. They can argue in public the opposition point of view as well. It has been happening in this country since its founding. Thousands of cases a year. Attorneys get up there and speak on their client's behalf. It is not uncommon to see that. But with this particular trial, we have this gag order, and it has done nothing but allow just rampant speculation on both sides. But so many people are pre-programmed to just absolutely digest anything that comes out of mainstream media. The coverage has been vastly skewed, and Ann Taylor can't get up there and state her case. What I believe she will do, and this is just my guess, but she will file a motion for a change of venue. She will make the statement that the jury pool in that area is contaminated and this trial needs to be moved somewhere else. And I will also go on and predict what everybody in mainstream media and what several people on social media are going to say. This is a defensive tactic. This is nothing more than another thing Ann Taylor is trying to do to delay the trial from happening. And you won't hear anything even remotely similar to what I just showed you. All you will get is, this is a defensive tactic. This is a ploy. This is a game. How much is this costing the taxpayer? None of this is valid. I'm telling you right now, just based off that clip, there is a strong potential reason to believe that it is valid. Now, yes, those individuals do not speak for the community as a whole. But it is safe to say that you can get a good indication on where everybody is in that community in terms of Bryan Kohberger's guilt or innocence. We have already heard from all these interviews with people saying he was weird, saying he was socially awkward. Now, none of those particular individuals that spoke out said anything about violence, but we have had countless stories come out from anonymous sources of people saying he harassed them or there was some type of odd behavior that made them feel uncomfortable. And this is the problem with gag orders. They don't allow for a full scope picture of what's going on. Now, when they were doing the investigation, they were playing it real close to the chest. We could all see it. And the vast majority of us, while not necessarily happy about the lack of answers we were receiving, we understood and said, okay, let's just sit back and give these guys a shot. Let's give them a chance. And hopefully they find their guy. And then when they announced Bryan Kohberger's name as the suspect, everybody immediately jumps online to figure out who he is. But when that probable cause affidavit's released, my God, the holes. My God, the questions. I'm personally believing they wanted this gag order in place and they wanted to keep this investigation so secretive because the vast majority of the evidence they claim to have is circumstantial. But to blanket impose a gag order and pretend as if that is keeping people from running wild with anonymous sources and leaks is just complete nonsense. The Scott Peterson case, for example, when he was convicted of his crime, most of the actual evidence against him was circumstantial. They still got a conviction. I mean, if you do rock solid police work and the attorneys do their job, a conviction is highly probable. Having the defense come out and make statements, at least on occasion, explaining her point of view and why she believes her client is innocent is not against the law here. And when she files this motion and she makes her case for why this hearing needs to be moved, remember this video. Remember what those individuals said. They are publicly stating they believe Bryan Kohberger is guilty. Based off hearsay, based off anonymous sources, and based off rumors. At least I'm being upfront with you and telling you my theory of more than one is just a theory. It is just my guess. I'm not telling you I got any of this information from anonymous sources, and every piece of information I get, that I make a video and I'll post the source in the link below and you can see for yourself. But it's just a really weird situation to have people so convinced with such little evidence that an individual is guilty. Look, if he is, he is. I'm not on here to rail against the authorities, to rail against the investigators. It's a garbage job. It's a hard job. And that particular police department was placed under a lot of stress and a lot of scrutiny very quickly. And I'm not here to just be always an advocate for the defense. I'm an advocate for truth. I'm an advocate for transparency. And I'm an advocate for asking questions and not necessarily caring if that's going to hurt somebody else's feelings. There's a lot of holes in this case. That is true. And if you don't see the holes, then you're just not looking, or you're being blissfully ignorant. Yes, Bryan Kohberger is suspicious. I don't think anybody can 100% say that there isn't suspicion around him. But just to say completely outright he is guilty with the limited information you have is absolute nonsense. But that is the speculation surrounding this case. That is the speculation surrounding that community. Individuals in that community are speaking as if he did it. And a motion will be filed for a change of venue. I would almost bet on it. It's just my guess, but I would almost bet on it. And when that happens, mainstream media will pull the same stunt saying that this is just a ploy, that there is no validity behind this. I'm telling you right now, there is validity. And if you disagree with anything that I'm saying right here, let me know down in the comments below. Because unlike a lot of places, this is an open discussion channel. This is an open discussion community. You can feel free to disagree or agree at any point, and you will not have myself and the vast majority of the people that are on here jump down your throat. But that's what I have. I appreciate your time. I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.